So how are you going to start this then?
Nah, just probably do. This is welcome to episode 12. We'll do that one again. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Gavin.
Welcome back to everyone. Thank you for watching the show again. And we've had a crazy mental weekend in the Premier League.
We have
Manchester
indeed.
City atop. Nobody is undefeated anymore. Cats and dogs living together. Mass hysteria. It's just been crazy. It genuinely, but I know I'm being hyperbolic here, but it has genuinely been.
I mean, hyperbolic is a really good word. If you listen to the press and the pundits for this weekend, I think they've taken a mad weekend and made it even more ridiculous than it actually was, myself.
Yeah, I mean, teams that put out statements about refereeing, can you believe that?
That's going to be something we're going to talk about for sure.
I thought it would be. So we're going to change up things a little bit on the show now. So we're not going to necessarily go through every game and sort of talk about it at length. We thought we'd just kind of condense the weekend into a tasty morsel of the most important parts, or what we deem at least the important parts, and kind of just streamline that. And then we're going to have a little bit of fun. And a bit of fun and games, a little bit of good times. So I think that talking point wise, I think we have to start with the main event, the filet mignon of the weekend. Chelsea, Spurs. Wow, what a chaotic game. I mean, from start to finish, just it's incident. It's everything that's right and everything that's wrong.
Yeah,
the beautiful game, all wrapped up into one London bow. Postecoglou not showing any fear, even going down to 9 men, just going, got it.
I got to be honest. Let's start with that one. I mean, I've never seen when you're down to 9 men to decide for your formation to be a 0-8-1. No defenders, 8 midfielders, 1 attacker.
Like I said, in the presser afterwards, he was asked about it, like sort of, why didn't you go defensive? Why didn't you chill out? And he went, hey, if we go down to 5 men, I'm still going to have a pop.
A pop's one thing, but having everyone in the other half, that's just mental.
Yeah, it was pure suicide, but it was beautiful.
I mean, what did he honestly expect was going to happen there? I mean, even a side as bad as Chelsea are playing, with a striker as atrocious as Jackson, is going to beat you on that one.
Got a hat-trick. What are you on about?
The worst hat-trick in history. Seriously, the worst performance from a striker and still gets a hat-trick. That goes to show how sometimes when you go gung-ho, it's not going to work out for you.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've seen it in the past with teams where they've gone down to just 10 and haven't been conservative enough, and then they've gotten battered. There's many famous, victories and stuff about it over the world of the time. But we'll go into a little bit of this, because this does become a bit of a referee and VAR bashing podcast. But when it's so consistently inconsistent, I think it's very fair to start analyzing that. What were your takes of a mental game in North London?
I agree with you that the talking points are going to be referees. What I didn't like about the hyperbolic attitude towards the whole thing from, like I say, pundits and commentators, was mixing a load of issues all in one. We have an issue with VAR, or we have an issue with referees. There's certain things that you can agree with, disagree with, certain things that are right, certain things that are wrong. In this particular game, let me go for one of my personal ones. I think Udogie should have been sent off for that 2-footed lunge. Sure. I thought that was disgraceful. And for the referees to decide that because he didn't make contact, it should only be a yellow. It was attempted murder. He tried to kill him. It was both feet off the ground, stud showing. You would literally just having
a go about pundits being hyperbolic, and here you are.
I thought I'd join in. Is that what we're doing now?
throwing in some Alex Ferguson, he could have been killed. Come on now.
That's what we're doing, right? So anyway, no, but being a bit serious, it was a dangerous tackle to be off your feet with your studs showing you have no control of where you're going. It was a lunge. I think was it Sterling that was being tackled for that one, I think, and he managed to get out the way and they clipped one of his legs with the trailing leg, so therefore yellow. I mean, the idea, like we've talked about this before, the idea behind these red cards is a punishment for a behavior to stop you from doing it again. It's going obviously going to affect the game there and then by getting a red card, but it's to stop you from doing it. If you're going to get a yellow card, why don't you do it again? Because you're only going to get a yellow card. You see, that one. I've said about soft yellow cards in the past, that one should have been a red. So there's some inconsistencies. I thought we'd outlawed that tackle like decades ago. That's something I remember seeing growing up in the 80s and 90s. That was the way that Vinnie Jones and them lot used to throw themselves into tackles. And we got rid of it. But then he comes back with it. So that was one where I think that the referees should have been harsher on that one. So, yeah. What were your thoughts on that particular tackle?
Yeah, similar. I do sort of sympathize a little bit in the sense that it's difficult to not always keep your studs down when you're flowing in the tackles. There is an element of it's just how bodies work.
Sure.
But the thing that really sort of grinds my gears a little bit, and we'll talk about it a little bit as well when we talk about Arsenal Newcastle, is the length of time and the amount of trying to like you slow it down and you stop at certain moments and all this kind of stuff, and it sort of makes a lot of these things look infinitely worse.
Sure.
So if we're word of the day is going to be hyperbole or hyperbolic or hyperbole. But when you get the fans going there, you see what I'm seeing online are people like from Spurs going, "Game's gone." It's a contact sport. It's this, that, and the other. And then the Chelsea fans are going, "Well, it's violent conduct. That we were, so you kind of." I don't know. It's a difficult one for me because I think that VAR and the referees make such a meal out of this, and I think it was like 9-10 minutes added on, because of that and all the other VAR incidents, the Sterling handball goal that got disallowed, all that kind of stuff that happened in the first half, let alone the chaos that happened in the second. But so it's difficult because. I think things get made worse if it was just a situation where the referee just made a decision. I think the referee's decision probably would have been a yellow because he didn't necessarily make contact. But I can understand entirely when you get hindsight to look at it a bit deeper, like you're talking about, then you just see the genuine levels of how dangerous that play was.
I see what you're saying. I remember watching the game with a friend, and we both gasped at the same time when we saw the guy launching himself across the ground, off the ground into the, as we know, Sterling now. So I personally, the reaction from us was, wow, that could very well be a red straight away. We didn't need a replay on that. But there's been so much pressure recently on referees to get things right. And not only that, on the VAR, when it gets handed to VAR, so much pressure on them to make sure that when they've got the benefit of the replay, that they get the decision right. They don't want to throw the decision quickly back to the field. So, yep, done. We saw how that went down with the Liverpool Spurs game, where they were trying to get the decision done quickly and they got the wrong message to the field. We don't want that. So I think it comes down to, what do we want? Do we want the game that we complained about for decades, where the refs were wrong, the refs were blind, we were robbed? That's been a theme for decades, if not longer, in the over 100 years of the game, where there's been complaints about the referees. If we don't want that, and we don't want VAR to take a long time, we don't want the referees. There's so much we don't want. What do we want? Is what it comes down to at that point. I think we want the right decision. And I don't know if I'm convinced that the referees on the field is it. That's why we went from 3 on-field officials to a 4th official, to an extra pair of eyes, someone else to look at the watch as well, to make sure everything's going right. Then we've added the VAR. Oh, I'm not sure that taking a long time is necessarily a bad thing. We had Graham Lasso as our commentator over here. I don't know if it was the same for you guys for the right. The
Neville
Spurs,
and someone.
Right. The Spurs-Chelsea match, it was Graham Lasso, and every single time the refs were talking to VAR, he was complaining about it taking long, and there's this, and he was making it sound like a bad thing. So therefore, you're programmed to be frustrated when it's taking a couple of minutes to come back. So we then say, all right, it needs to be done faster. But then we complain when it's done too fast and they miss something. Yeah. So just quickly going back to the Udogie red card, or the lack of red card, the Christian Romero red card, where from the penalty, where there was a follow through from his foot that then his studs were after the challenge followed through and got the guy's ankle, and it was bad. So therefore, red card. I didn't think that was as dangerous as the Udogie one.
No,
personally,
but it was more. But it was more of a straightforward red card situation.
I'm not saying it wasn't a red card. I think it was a red card.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the decision to get there was easier to make.
Yeah,
because it was denying a goal scoring opportunity, which obviously, and also, like I said, a dangerous tackle in the box.
Yeah.
So I think it was an easier decision for the referees to make. I mean, Udogie, is that how we say it?
Udogie. I don't know. There's no N. It's UDOG. So
okay, so we'll just go with Destiny. He I can't do this game. But yeah, he eventually got sent off.
Yeah.
And then the thing about something hilarious that I read. So basically, Udogie goes off.
Yeah.
Romero goes off as a red card, right?
Mm-hmm.
Van de Ven and Maddison come off with injuries.
Yeah.
So with half an hour left, only 3 outfield players who started the match for Spurs were still out there.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'm seeing that now. Yeah,
because of the substitutions that were made for the injured players and the people sent off. That meant that only 3 people outfield who started the game were in it. But Maddison being out for them, Van de Ven being out for them. I mean, 2 suspensions as well. Richarlison is now going for surgery as well.
Yeah.
So Spurs' season is hit an incredible iceberg during this game. Like, that's the one thing that I've taken from it more than anything else, is that it really is game on for everyone else now, because you can justify, you can accept losing the game and go, oh, we'll go again. With what? Like, Spurs don't have a strength of depth like most teams do, who are in that top 4 conversation. This is a brilliant opportunity for Liverpool, for Man United, for anyone in that top from 2 to 6 to really gain some ground. And I unfortunately think that Spurs are going to have a very torrid couple of weeks coming up, because I don't remember correctly. Am I right in thinking that is it Fernandez who got sent off for the penalty?
What, in the Chelsea Spurs game?
Yeah.
Romero,
sorry. Yeah. Romero got sent off. I think he was a straight red, right?
Straight red. That was where he went for the ball. He went through and his foot went straight on the ankle, and it was bad.
So he's gone for 3 games.
Yeah.
Because straight red. I think Destiny's was 2 yellows.
2 yellows. Although that one, because it ended up being a red, it might be able to be reviewed. And that second tackle where he just scythed, I think it was Raheem Sterling again.
It was both. It was both times Sterling. Yeah.
Yeah, where he scythed him down for the second one, that could get upgraded to a red. I don't know whether it's going to, but yeah.
So he's minimum out of game.
Yeah.
Maybe more. Maybe Postecoglou doesn't trust him now because let's face it, he played like an absolute moron all game.
Yeah. Out of control.
Yeah, he was an absolute liability for Spurs all game. And then you've got James Maddison, who's been pulling the strings for that team since he's come in. He's been probably one of the signings of the season in terms of his output since turning up to a club. He's probably, he's pretty much part of the reason that Spurs transformed, I think. I think that's a fair thing to say because he's giving an output to Kulusevski, to Son. And then, like you said, then you've got Van der Ven, who's a very important player. He's out now. And then you've also got the problem of no real... who do they even have at top now? Richarlison's out.
So Højbjerg, maybe?
But
struggling.
They're struggling now. They're struggling for who they're going to bring in.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot there. And
we actually talked about this a couple of episodes ago where we said they're looking good, but what if they get an injury or two? And I don't know whether that was a jinx because they've been decimated after this weekend.
Exactly. In every way, in suspensions, in injuries.
Thankfully, there is an international break coming up. So we've got one more round of games, then there's an international break, which at least for the injuries pushes it back. But I mean, obviously the suspensions are that many games no matter what. Yeah.
So Spurs, I mean, don't get me wrong, they could probably come through this. They might have some wonder kids on that bench. Let's be fair, the way that the spirit in that club seems to be operating since Postecoglou's come in, which we've talked about before, the attitude, the confidence in that club, it's definitely a way more upbeat Spurs than it's been for a long time.
Sure.
Raheem Sterling's goal that was disallowed.
No.
So
I mean, look,
I've got my point on this, but you make yours. And I've got a feeling we're going to have the same point.
It probably is going to be the same right now. So, as far as I know, and I could be wrong on this, but I thought the handball thing had to be if your hand is in an unnatural position, right?
Yes.
Now, I don't see what Raheem Sterling did as unnatural. If you still frame it where his hand's here and he's hitting the ball, then it looks like a handball. However, if you watch him run, he runs like this. He's got a really weird, like Captain America, not Captain America, what's it called? Team America. Team America run, right? Yeah.
He's got that T-Rex run that he's always done. So me and you are on the exact same wavelength on this. This is that brother connection right here. But no, he runs like that. So like for a normal person, correct. A normal runner, that's an unnatural position. For him, it's the most natural position his hands could be in because it's in there. They're there all the time.
Exactly. And that should be knowledge of the referees. If VAR should know that as well on replay and go, it's still framed, but let's just have a bit of common sense here. How does he normally run? What position was he in 3 steps previous? Where was he straight after that? His hands are still here. So
same one.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Nick Jackson, right?
Nick Jackson was terrible. That was an awful performance.
Come on, man hit a hat trick. How can it be a terrible performance?
It was the worst hat trick in the history of the world. Yes, he scored a hat trick, but when the other team are in the other half and you've got an open goal, then he should have scored 6 or 7.
Well, he's been missing sitters left, right, and centre since he's come to Chelsea. To be fair,
I know all about strikers who are missing sitters. Don't worry about that. I even changed my screensaver on my phone to picture Darwin Núñez. I missed 3 calls straight away.
Hey. Oh man, but yeah, overall, like I said, I think I messaged you as well. It was taking Chelsea so long to break down 9 men that I was concerned that Spurs were gonna. They nearly did as well. They nearly nicked the goal.
Yeah, I mean
So,
those goals that were deemed offside all the time with a flag going up, and that was another thing that really annoyed me about Graham Lasso. Was every time there was an offside decision, he moaned and groaned about it. Oh, here we go again. We'll check this one. Oh, we'll check that one. I thought, yes, we will. If it's offside, it should be called offside. And if they did, it's not the referee's fault that those players were offside all the time.
no.
You know, when you have an open flowing game where there's going to be these goals, some of them are going to be offside. Just calm down. Complain where there's meant to be complaints. But when not, stop this hyperbole where there doesn't need to be. There's enough pressure on referees and VAR as it is. Quite rightly so, but let's not add it extra.
Well, speaking of that, let's talk about Liverpool. Sorry, not Liverpool. Sorry, Arsenal.
Arsenal.
Sorry, I'm just used to VAR, Liverpool. I'm used to it.
I know.
You know how it goes. But Arsenal,
Yeah.
losing, hold that L to Newcastle United. Again, another mental game. I thought it was a brilliant game to watch as a neutral.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed the football. Thought it was free flowing. Thought everyone was doing really well.
Yep.
And then it happens.
Yeah.
My opinion on this has changed entirely over the last couple of days.
Okay, interesting.
I at first went that went over the line, and therefore it'll get done like the Man United one. Because naked eye and looking at it in real time, I thought, oh, that ball's over. Sure. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All right. They checked that. Then they check for a foul, which I did. Which when they were looking at it on the replays, I did not think that there was a foul. I thought it was two players coming together and challenging each other in the box, and one player fell over. If anything, the Arsenal defender should have been stronger.
Yeah.
You know, and not flop to the ground like that.
Yeah.
And then they were checking for an offside.
Yeah.
So, and the offside, I didn't think. It's an inconclusive offside, and I don't think that it's fair to. It would have been the right decision to make that, but I did 100% think the ball went over the line.
Sure.
And I, for a while, thought Arsenal had been robbed. Then I watched some more footage. I can't remember. It wasn't Sky, and I don't think it was any of the American people, but it might have been BN, who showed the angle of it from above. So you know that angle that they had at the World Cup, and they have it in the Champions League, that the Premier League thought, we don't need that. It's unnecessary. But they showed that and showed that the ball had like a couple of millimeters still on the line. So it was the right decision. It was the right call. That hasn't stopped Arsenal, though, in my opinion, being fairly embarrassing. Because, and this, I think it's, and this is not me having a go at Liverpool, because we've talked about that particular incident and why it's, but this was my point when I was saying about potentially doing replays or all this kind of stuff, is that teams will look at that and go, right, I'm having a pop at that. I'm doing that now. And I can't for the life, I mean, I thought Arteta was embarrassing. In it. And I thought that Arsenal's approach for it was embarrassing. They acted like they'd been robbed in the way that you'd been robbed. And I've seen that again online with people, pundits, you know, Twitter users, all that sort of stuff, YouTube people like me and you with no business doing this, talking about it. But, you know, we want to get YouTube rich. It's fine. And, but what I'm saying is, like, it's kind of like taking this situation where you're wrong. And you're dead adamant, because there's no way on earth that Arsenal don't have access to this stuff. Like the same stuff that I saw from that network that showed the overhead there. To act like that, robbed in the same way that Liverpool got robbed, I think that's just embarrassing.
It is.
Well, yeah, I expected that.
No, I do agree with you on that. And, you know, I when you said about the concern with the way that Liverpool put out this statement, other teams, I remember feeling nervous myself because there were other incidences in our game that could be questioned. The yellow card for Jota, for example, that obviously we can't do anything about. That was an opinion. I thought it was soft. The referee thought it wasn't. That's a yellow card. There were other incidents. I can't remember off the top of my head exactly all of them now, but there were other things like that where it was opinion pieces, where the referees didn't feel it was the case.
Yeah.
What they saw, therefore they decided that way. However, the issue that Liverpool brought up in their statement, and in my opinion, an unfair ask or an unwise ask for a replay was down to the error that was made, where the VAR said it was a goal, and then the on-field message was that it wasn't. And the issue then with the lack of communication, the fact that someone said in the booth, we need to delay the game. There was a mistake, and they said, well, we've kicked off now, there's nothing we can do. That, in my opinion, was wrong. They could have done that, and they stuck to the guns, and they wheeled out all these people from the PGMOL to defend that decision that, once we start back up again, we can't do anything about it. That was, just put up and shut up. And that type of rhetoric is hyper frustrating for fans and for clubs. And the type of thing that led to that type of conversation about, well, let's have a replay then, or whatever. So yeah, you were right that it was dangerous that other clubs might jump on board, which is why I wanted to make the point then and now that it's different. Apples and oranges. What happened to Liverpool in that moment with the Diaz goal, the offside, that is one thing. It was called a goal by the VAR team, and the on-team officials didn't give it. That is completely different. What we've had with Arsenal, what we're having with Newcastle, with the Newcastle game as well, was opinions. They saw it, they reviewed it, and the call that VAR and the on-field officials made was then the one that was presented to the players and affected the game. It's different. It shouldn't be connected the two, and we shouldn't be putting out more statements in the ilk of Liverpool for something that isn't the same.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing that bit Arsenal, I think, a little bit in those decisions was that they didn't have conclusive angles. They didn't have the conclusive footage. So because they couldn't make the conclusion and the and the on-field decision was a goal, that's then the way it works. That's VAR working. That's this situation working. And your beef should really be with the decision makers who decided, that extra technology that's operated in the Champions League, that's operated in the World Cup and everything. Well, then we should be implementing that. There should be, if you've got goal line, that buzz for the watch for a goal, have the same thing going, out onto those lines. Then let's do that, but don't. Attack in this one instance. I'm going to stick up for VAR and the refs, right? I don't think it's fair to jump on them and go, "You've made a decision," because they've made the wrong decision. Sorry, because they've made the correct decision based on what happened live and then what they can prove or not prove.
Yeah.
And in that scenario, from what they got to see, like I said, I saw it from a naked eye, looking at it in real time. The more I watch it, the more it looks in. And then, like I said, that conclusive camera shot over the top that they did by using that video AI thing that they used.
It connects all the cameras together and then creates what that would be. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that thing shows that it was in. United fans have complained saying it's the same as theirs, but the same thing has happened and it shows that it's out.
I mean, to be honest, just quickly on that one, I can't remember the United game taking place at St. James's Park by that corner flag. I don't know. At that precise moment, at that exact angle, I can't. Maybe it was, but I don't think it was, right? So it's not the same. It's different.
Pedantic son. But yeah, ultimately, what it's done is it's blown the doors off. It's blown the bloody doors off the
Yeah.
top four. And yeah, it's now spicy. Now, okay, now it's a one-horse race. Now it's a farmers league.
I don't see it as a farmers league myself, but there we go. I think you got
No,
four very, very, very tight teams.
Being hyperbolic.
I know. Isn't it funny though how, I mean, let's take City out of the equation for a second. Let's talk about the other three teams: Spurs, Liverpool, and Arsenal. All were unbeaten for the longest of the big four, or the top four, not the big four, the top four. And those three teams I just mentioned lost their undefeated streak to controversial games. The Spurs Liverpool game, where that was what was our loss with the asterisks next to it. Then you've got the questions in the other games. Whether you think that they're wins or losses, it's not so clear cut. But I just find it intriguing that the first losses for all three teams are contentious talking points.
What I think you all have to realize is that Manchester City doesn't actually need VAR. Because they play so good. They just don't need that stuff. That's what it is. So
yeah, okay.
That or brown bags being thrown around the FA. It's all that stuff. It's fun.
Hey, just real quick back on the Newcastle game, because I just reminded myself of something where during our game they said, yeah, that should have been a goal. Stop. We need to let them know on the field that they got that wrong. We were saying it is a goal. Please give Liverpool the goal. And they said, can't do anything about it. And that's when, like I said, the PGMOL came out and said, no, you can't. Once the game's restarted, nothing you can do. I don't know if you caught it, but at the end of the Chelsea game, there was a Reece James incident where there was violent conduct, where it happened, the game stopped, they restarted the game, then VAR said to the referee, hold up, we're just checking this. I thought we just established that once it starts, you can't check. But no, indeed, they did check, and they found that there was no violent conduct, and they kept going. And that left me scratching my head. What are we doing now? What? Because if we've changed the rules that you can go back after the game's restarted, fine, but let's let everyone know, because otherwise you're going to get to a point where this is going to happen again and someone else is going to complain about it and the refs are going to say, well, no, we changed the rules. We just didn't tell you about it.
Howard Webb must be livid.
I know. Or is it a case of that they just misused it then? Or they used common sense then? Because that's what it is. If there was violent conduct and it's getting spotted and the message only getting through, that's common sense. And I'm happy with that. But we've got to apply it across the border on all games.
Yeah. I completely agree. We even during that Liverpool incident, we were saying on this, and I was the one saying it, that I think there was no reason or rhyme to actually not just go, stop, back here, done. You know,
yeah.
I have an argument. This is what we've discussed. This is what we've concluded. It's done.
Yeah, there's no guarantee that would have changed the game. It might have ended the same way. Who knows? No one knows, right? It's the same as the Arsenal-Newcastle game. There was that one incident that the Arsenal is saying, there you go, ruined it. But there were other minutes in that game. Several before, several afterwards, right?
Many.
It would have, that goal, standing or not standing, would have changed the flow of the game, but to what, we don't know. So you can't say that Newcastle wouldn't have still gone on and won, or that Arsenal would have gone on to win. We just don't know. It is what it is. For me, I think I agree with you on that goal. Initially, I thought, oh, that was out, but he kept going. They showed the replay, and you can see the shadow of the ball so close to the line, which means that the rest of the ball, some of it must have been on the line, right?
Yeah.
So that was questionable. You can't call that one. The push in the back, that was just, was it Guimaraes? I think it was, that had his hands out to know where the guy was. That's all it was. And the guy fell over, right? So that wasn't a push. That wasn't a foul for me. But it could have been called. The ref's decision was that it wasn't a foul. Fine. Accept, like Postecoglou said, accept the decision. Move on. I'm all for that. And me and you have talked about this away from this, that once the call is made on the field, that's it. You got to accept it. If it's not a penalty for you, that's fine. That doesn't mean it wasn't a penalty. It's only a penalty if it's given, right? That's when it's a penalty. It's only a goal when it's given. That's when it's given. The offside for me was the one. The only reason that wasn't called offside was they didn't know who the ball came off and when. Because if it had clearly come off, I think it was Guimaraes, if it had clearly come off his head, then Anthony Gordon was in an offside position because the goalkeeper was the other side of play. So it was the last defender was the last. It's not then them where the line's drawn. The line would be drawn at the goalkeeper because the defender was behind him. So that's the only way you can feel aggrieved. But yeah, it was a ref decision. The only time, in my opinion, where you can feel aggrieved is when the decision goes in your favor but is not given. I don't think I'll ever get over it. It is what it is, but I think this one will be one I'll remember for quite some time.
I suggest getting over it. It's not worth
Never.
It. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Don't hold on to grudges, mate. It's bad for your karma.
Clearly.
Cool. So let's move on from the football then. Let's play some games.
Okay, let's do it.
Game show music's here. Da, 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 da. Not really. Don't worry about that. We won't edit that. So we're gonna play a little game. We did this a couple of times ago, but we're gonna do a different type of game this time. It's gonna be me and you going into a little bit of sell, bench, and keep. Or start.
Or start, yeah. Start.
Yeah, we'll go with start.
Let's go with start, bench, sell. Let's do it in that order.
Okay, we'll do it in that order. So would you like to go first or shall I go first?
I'll give you the question, the options first. So you going first, but I'll give. So I've got 4 lined up: A, B, C, and D.
Ooh.
And I want you to choose one of them because they're all different, and I don't want to. Yeah, I'd like you to choose A, B, C, or D.
No, this is horrible. What's behind door number 1?
Indeed.
I'm gonna go with C.
C.
For Champions of Europe. You'll never sing that. Well, you will, but some of you won't.
Several times we've sung that one.
All right.
at several levels as well. Anyway,
can't have anything nice, can we? God.
Right. So C, the 3 players I've got for this is for start, bench, and sell. Rodri, Casemiro, and Kimmich.
Kimmich. Oh, it's a good.
Joshua Kimmich.
Start is Rodri.
Okay.
Bench is Kimmich. And sell is Casemiro. Now, I'm going to give you my reasons for why.
Please do.
Rodri, I think, currently is the best defensive midfielder in the Premier League, probably in world football in terms of form. I'm not talking legacy. I'm not talking any of that. I'm just talking right now, today. And I think that any team that has someone like that in their squad is instantly improved. He's taken a team full of talented individuals and given them an incredible base to work off, both defensively and attacking. And I think that he's invaluable. You can see the drop in Manchester City when he's not around.
Yeah.
And he took the mantle from Fernandinho and took that kind of strong, gritty defensive mid that we had with Fernandinho, but then added finesse and some flair. And he's got an eye for goal. He's got an eye for a pass. He can defend. He could do it all, and he's marvelous. He's a marvelous player. So that's why I'd keep him. Kimmich, I think, is definitely. I mean, come on, if Casemiro's coming off, Kimmich can come on. What's wrong with that? He's brilliant. He's won World Cups. He's won Champions Leagues. He's just a phenomenal footballer. The only reason I'm saying that I would sell Casemiro is just because of his age. I think that he's done it all, and he's been a phenomenal player as well. But again, this isn't or wasn't a legacy question, right? So it's like based on right here, right now.
Yep.
as the song goes. And Casemiro for me is I don't know. I'd rather have Rodri in the form that he's in right now, and and Joshua Kimmich,
Mhm.
in the who still has good years ahead of him, still a moldable player, still an improving player, even rather than a guy who's for the now, who probably in a couple of years will be playing in the Saudi league for a couple £100 in front of 200 people.
Nice touch. I like
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. Sophie's choice for Gavin.
Okay.
There's A or B, but no matter which one you pick, I'm going to do the same one. So. Pick A or B.
A then. We'll start with A.
Okay, well, A is. Okay, so I've gone for Steven Gerrard, Robbie Fowler, Michael Owen.
Wow.
Yeah, I went evil.
You did. And let me just clarify then, we're talking prime of each, right?
We're talking prime of each, because they all played together at the same time, right? When we talked about doing this
there was
over chat, we sort of
crossovers.
said similar.
Yeah,
there is crossover there.
Slight.
I thought there was.
Gerrard was tail end, but yeah.
Okay.
So Gerrard, Fowler, Owen.
Yep.
In their prime, I'm gonna go with. All right, let's put it slightly out of order, and I'll do the reasons as I'm going. I'm gonna go with Sell first, the most valuable, in my opinion, or the one that can be shifted for the most amount of money. I think I've got to go with Michael Owen for Sell, just because I think that's the one I can, in his prime, I'd get the most money for, especially in today's market. A striker like that, holy hell. I don't want to sell him. I really don't.
I know you don't.
I'm gonna start with Robbie Fowler. Get some early goals in. And I'm going to put Steven Gerrard on the bench just because I know if I'm 2-0 down or 1-0 down, bring him on and he's going to change the game for us. So that's what I would do. I would start Fowler to get the goals. I'd bring Steven Gerrard on at the end just to secure the win, and then I'm going to sell Michael Owen to get more money. Tough one. Thank you for that one. Wow.
To buy a yacht. Cool. So am I still picking letters?
Yeah, you're going to pick one because I need to recover after that one. I've not been as cruel to you.
You don't know what's next.
No.
Go with A.
A. Oh, the big one. All right.
Yes.
Reasons as well. Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Okay.
Messi.
Yeah.
Mbappe.
Prime or now?
Prime.
Okay, because if it's now, I'll do both. I'll do now and then I'll do prime, all right? Because now it's Mbappe, Messi, and Ronaldo. Mbappe, obviously, keep.
Yeah.
Start. I'd bench Messi and I would sell Ronaldo because, let's face it, that's where they're at in their careers. Like, everyone's like bigging up Ronaldo at the minute, being like 400 goals in his career and like top scorer in the world and that. You're literally playing shepherds. It's not football. And then Messi got into, like we said last time, got into Miami from like 18th to 17th.
15th to 14th.
15th to 14th. You're a legend in no disrespect to the MLS, but
no.
It's a little below Messi's station, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
The fact that he's still not anyway. And Mbappe, I'm on. Yeah. World Cup winner, World Cup final.
Do them in their prime. Because they all play together, but they're prime of each.
Okay. I'm going to go keep Messi. Start Messi. Because I prefer Messi as a footballer to Ronaldo.
Yep.
I'm going to bench Mbappe. I'm going to sell Ronaldo. I'm selling Ronaldo for the same reason that you're selling Michael Owen. I think that's a beautiful reason. I want a yacht. I want a Maserati. I don't need this. If I've got Messi and Mbappe, why do I need him?
Yeah.
I think Messi's probably so we talked a little bit about it when I was younger. I went out of football and then I came back into football pretty much when we moved to Stockport, Manchester. So when I was about 13, 14 years old,
yeah,
I started getting back into it. Not long after that, Messi shows up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a few years later, obviously, but Messi shows up. And when Messi showed up, I really got interested in football again. It was such an interesting, agile, wonderful player. Seemed to just be able to just like dink a ball, but it would have the power and pace and the curve, and it was just brilliant. He was skillful. He didn't have that superstar look. You know, he was just a pure player. So that's and he is probably my favorite footballer. Mbappe in his prime, he's won World Cups.
Yeah.
He's won European Championships. He has raps named about him in French. Does Messi have that? No. But yeah, and pound for pound, I think Mbappe is probably going to be considered in the next 10 years when he eventually leaves PSG and stops that silliness and goes to Real Madrid or comes to the Prem, or you know, it goes somewhere a little more a reputable sort of league scenario and shows that he can do it there, which I think he will and can. I think he'll be a again, Ronaldo. I mean, I'm going to just show my biases here. Like he's an ex-United player, so but also, you know, at the time when he left United, he left for a ludicrous sum, wasn't it? Like 80 million at the time.
Yeah, it's a crazy amount.
It's a crazy amount of money that you can offload him for. He's a contributor. He's a great footballer. I'm not going to dispute that. I just don't like him.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point of this game, isn't it? You're not going to get any bad players that you want to sell just to get them off the books. The idea of this is to make that choice difficult. So
yeah. Okay, does it have to be players or can I do memories?
I'm happy to entertain anything you got in mind. Go for it.
All right, cool. So it's all recent, sort of.
Okay.
Keep, bench, and sell. So sell's kind of like forget the memory. Bench is kind of like it's a distant memory, and you know, keep is like Istanbul.
Yep.
You know what's coming, don't you? Premier League.
Yep.
Or the recent Champions League win for Liverpool.
Easier than you'd think.
Okay.
Easier than you'd think. The Premier League was special, of course, because it's been so long since we won the top title, the top league title. So that's probably the only tricky one. In terms of how we got there to then Jordan Henderson lifting the trophy. That was the year where we just obliterated it and ran away with it. So we kind of won the league early on, and by the time the trophy was lifted, it was a done deal. We're just waiting for it to happen. So although it was good, it wasn't that one moment. Beating Spurs, I think it was, in our Champions League, the most recent one. I think I just summed it up right there. Beating Spurs, I think it was.
You evil son.
So that kind of sums up that one. And then Istanbul, my goodness, to be 3-0 down and for that rally and for all to be in the same night, to be behind and no hope against Pirlo and that AC Milan team.
Maldini was in that team as well, wasn't he?
It was an insane team. We had no business hanging with them, but we did. Steven Gerrard with the leadership there to whip it up and for it to go to a dramatic penalty shootout as well. That's what makes that win special to me, not because it was so long since we last won the European trophy. It was just an amazing night. So for me, I've got to keep that one. That's right up there with any football experience anyone's had. If ask anyone for their best football experience, that night will rank straight up there as an equivalent. Whereas, like I say, Premier League, it was great that we finally got it, but it was at the end of waiting for it to happen, a foregone conclusion. And then the most recent Champions League was great to have another one, but the occasion we won 1-0 against Spurs. Fair enough. Where was that as well? Because I'm fairly sure it wasn't like a spectacular arena either.
We got screwed out of getting to that final by Spurs, so I don't care.
It's one you want to forget, right?
Well, kind of. For me, that would be the one I'd forget, because like we played Spurs, and it was one of those ones where they hadn't refined the VAR rule yet, so they went back, I think, nearly 2 minutes to find a foul in the build up to a goal, a last minute goal that would have gotten us through, and I'm like, and there was even like what they couldn't consider now change in passage of play, where like the ball, like Spurs had taken control of the ball since the foul, but we got it straight back. But they were still saying that it was still part of the same bit of play.
Sure.
Now it wouldn't. Now we would have faced you in the Champions League final, which would have been spicy at the time.
Yeah.
But
so I'm just looking up now. It was Madrid was where the final was. Atletico Madrid Stadium. Was it Metropolitano? And it was 2-0 actually. That was how memorable the game was.
Okay, so my intention to try and ruin some of your thing, you were just like, oh, I don't even remember. Just put it with the rest. Just put it with the rest.
Put it with the rest. Here's an interesting fact. It was the first Champions League final to use VAR.
No wonder you won it. Liverpool.
But yeah, we've been in 8 finals, apparently. 1977, 78, 81, 84, they were all wins. 85 was a loss. 2005 was Istanbul. 2007 was a loss. 2018 was a loss. 2019 was a 2-0 win. So we've had a lot of good runs in the Champions League, and I think spoiled.
We've had 2.
We've as a team, we've been as a fan base. Sorry, we've been spoiled with that. So yeah. There you go. There's my 3. That was a really good one. I like that.
Fun. I've just thought of one for me that in the similar vein that would be super tough.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to know it?
I mean, Aguero is one of them, right? The Aguero goal.
So it's Aguero.
Yeah.
So that Prem win.
Yeah.
The comeback against Villa.
Okay.
That won us the Prem.
Yeah.
For those 2, or winning the Champions League. I don't know what I pick in that.
That one's a tricky one.
Because that's because winning the first ever Premier League.
Yeah.
That's incredible, especially when we did it and how it happened.
I was in the room with you when that happened. I was in the room.
You were actually saying, I don't remember much about it. Genuinely, I don't. I can't remember. I've seen the footage, but I don't remember watching it. I don't know if you feel the same about Istanbul. Like, do you remember?
I do, yeah.
You know the game, but you don't remember you watching the game, if that makes sense.
Sort of. I remember the feeling and whatever. It's funny, I can picture you lot winning with the Aguero goal a lot clearer. Picture what was around me.
Yeah.
Whereas the Istanbul, I can remember Grobbelaar's shaky legs on Dudek. I can remember that. I can remember seeing it. But yeah, the actual room and who was where, yeah.
I can remember 3 things. And it was when Dzeko scored, me not reacting, and you going, you need to have faith. This is, you can still do this. And me being like, nah, it's over. We bottled it. And then the Aguero goal going in, and I don't think I've made a higher pitched noise in my life. I think I made an incredibly high pitched noise, and I nearly fell over the couch.
Yeah.
And then I remember a mate of mine ringing me up as I was going to town to have a drink with people, and he was a United fan, and he was ringing me up to say congratulations as a friend, and I laughed at him down the phone, I went, "Ah!" and then hung up on him, and then when I got to the pub, went, "Dude, I'm really sorry about that." That was really uncool.
Typical City fan.
Dirty. The Villa one was brilliant because it was just a really ridiculous, like 10 minutes comeback. We played awful, and then for 10 minutes, world class.
Sure.
And it was just, it was kind of like fun to relive it. But I remember that one. And then winning the Champions League for the first time, the first time's always special. So I don't know how I'd do that. I'm going to do it, actually. I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to say Aguero for start, Champions League for bench. And the only reason I'll put the other one third is just because it's like you sort of did then with the Champions League trophies. I'll put that with the rest. Well, I kind of we're sort of like that at present with this. So
I think I go along with you on that one. Yeah, those memories.
I think that's the way. So we'll come up with more of this as the weeks go on. So if you liked the episode, if you like the new format, if you like us, if you like football, if you like wanting to support friends, please follow us on social media at Do You Know The Score on Facebook, on Instagram, on a Tick and a Tuck. Not X. I'm going to keep saying that every single time, by the way. Not Twitter. Not Twitter.
Nope.
Cesspit of horrid place. Email us. Go on.
I was just going to say, and obviously on YouTube.
And we're on YouTube. Yeah, of course we're on YouTube. I was going to get to that after I said this. Email the show at doyouknowthescore@gmail.com. Comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Turn on notification bells. We are on WhatsApp. We're on YouTube. You've ruined my flow. I'm normally so good at all of this, pronouncing footballer names, pronouncing team names. I've nailed it all in this series. But yeah, please do that. It would be absolutely fantastic. To those of you that do regularly watch, thank you so much. It's really cool that you spend an hour of your day with us. That's really cool. But if you could let people know, share it, all that kind of stuff, that would be brilliant as well. Gavin, quickly before we go, any Atletico Orlando stuff going on at the minute that we can briefly talk about?
We had a game this weekend, penultimate game of the season, regular season. We won 1-0. So that puts us as, I think we're now confirmed definite second at least. No won their game as well, unfortunately. So they're still above us. We have to hope that they draw or lose the last two games and that we win our last one. They've got a game in hand on us. So if they draw or lose those two and we win our last one, we go top for the regular season. If not, we looks like we're definitely going to get second place, and then we're into the playoffs.
Brilliant.
So our last game is not this weekend coming, weekend after.
Okay, so episode 14. We'll let you know where Atletico Orlando finish as well. The official team of the Do You Know The Score podcast.
Fantastic.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye for now.